Well, let's speak to Navin Singh Khadka, who is live with us now on Outside Source. Navin, I wonder, when you put these findings to authorities in the three countries I've mentioned, do they accept there are problems?
Well, there was a mixture of response here. For instance, in the Philippines, the local authorities, they admitted that was 50% failure, whereas in India, they said it's wrong. There's a massive success, but this is open secret, to be honest. Everybody knows there what's going on. And it's been widely reported in the Indian media, debated in the parliament as well. In Mozambique, the government authorities were not forthcoming. Companies, they had their own arguments that they did not actually destroy natural forests. They were actually doing that where the land were already degraded. But if you talk to locals and environmental campaigners, they said that natural forests, native forests, were indeed destroyed.
And Navin, is the issue here that fundamentally reforestation or plantations cannot address climate change in the way that sometimes is promised, or is the problem just that it's not being done very well in these circumstances?
So as you know, right now, as we talk about climate change, scientists have told us that forests are a big deal. They are a major weapon in the fight against climate change because other technical fixes are actually not so much proven or are not available at that commercial level. So forests are our savior. That's what we're told. And that is why you've been hearing about all this one after another, major announcements, major targets. But the question is, what happened to them? Were they just announced and at most plantations were done and forgotten? That is where the question is. And as far as our investigation is concerned, we looked into all these major ones. For example, the Bond Challenge, that is the biggest one, having 60 countries around the world, 350 million hectares to be restored until 2030. There are others like Trillion Trees or African AFR 100 Restoration Initiative in Africa, or Latin America 2020 initiatives, 20 million by 2020. So you see, these are different one after another. They were announced. But when we tried to find out what's happening, outcomes were barely seen, and all these different secretariats of these major projects had no answer. And when I asked them, you passed the deadline, for example, the Bond Challenge 2020 deadline is passed, now they have a new deadline. When I asked them, they said, well, yes, we might have met the target, but they have to be documented. They are not documented yet. And just quickly, the Bond Challenge thing, for example, the countries, they are not forthcoming in terms of showing their progress. They have a barometer called Bond Barometer. 60 countries, 60 plus countries are involved, but just 6 countries have come up with that facts and figures in that barometer, and you and I can see. So that is the thing, if we don't know, and in some cases, we found that actually things have not worked and they are showing something else, and that's why the UN Forestry Chief, FAO Forestry Chief, called it most of the time promotional event, and one UN official also told us that there's a lot of greenwashing going on.
Navin, thank you very much indeed. There's Navin Singh Khadka live with us here on Outside Source on the issue of forestation and how it connects to climate change. It's been useful to get Navin back. This is a story we've covered as well on Outside Source a few months ago. You can get all of our explainer videos both on BBC iPlayer if you're watching in the UK, or through my Twitter account at BBC Ros Atkins. If you search for us along with tree planting, you'll find our report on this from a couple of